Hello to everyone. My name is Adrian Ruch. I'm Swiss. I'm a student in hospitality management, and I am excited today to be here for two reasons. First of all, I'm excited to see at this fair what our industry, the hospitality industry, is all about, to discover new faces of this industry. And second of all, to get the chance to talk to Ingrid and Reto and to ask a few of the questions that I've been wanting to ask for some time already.
Katharina?
Hello, my name is Katharina. I'm German, 21 years old. I studied together with Adrian at the Ecole Hôtelière de Lausanne. I'm very excited to be here too. It's my first time at the ITB. It's quite inspiring. It definitely makes you want to travel. And of course, an exchange with experienced hospitality leaders is always nice when you get out of university and see what it's really all about.
Ingrid, good afternoon. I'm Generation X, just borderline. Wow. Okay, borderline. I changed the dates just to make myself fit in. Huh? I work for Starwood Hotels as the Vice President People Development and Staffing for Europe, Africa, Middle East. And I'm here because I really believe in this topic. I think it's very important that the different generations understand each other well. And I also think that the newcomers now who work into the business are no longer only students, but they're also teachers. And we're going to talk about it a little bit later.
Right. Reto?
Good afternoon. My name is Reto Candrian. I am a member of the board of directors of Suvretta House in St. Moritz and a member of the management board of Candrian. Candrian is a company running restaurants and hotels in Switzerland. I'm actually also part of Generation X. Actually, I had to look up on the internet where the borders are. I'm excited to be here. In my previous life or career, I spent a lot of time in panels as well, talking in finance conferences and so on. And I'm very glad to be here because I feel there is much more passion about this industry, and I enjoy a lot to feel that and to share that today.
Good. We're going to cover 5 topics. First step in your career, compensation, lifelong learning, work-life balance. And we do that in a very simple way. Students will interview employers. So the first one is Katharina and Ingrid here on this table, and you are going to interview Ingrid about your first step in your career. Good luck. 5 minutes you got.
Timed.
Yes.
Okay. So Ingrid, my first question is a rather personal one. Since Adrian and myself are graduating in 1 year time, I was wondering, how do you think could we prepare best for this competitive labor market?
Okay, there may be a long answer to this question. Now, actually, I think what you need to do, what is really important, that you research yourself well. Nowadays, when you go to employers, you're expected to know about the industry, you're expected to know about the company, you're expected to know about what you want to do. And I think the most important thing when you decide where to go to is that you feel there's a fit, a cultural fit between you and the company. So I would say for me, the most important thing is make sure that you educate yourself well, that you know what you're talking about, and that you also know what you want to do and what you want to achieve.
Okay. Thank you very much. The next question is kind of a little bit critical, because when we do this research and we look at the corporate training programs, sometimes the hospitality students who already have 2 internships behind them have the feeling that these corporate programs are kind of a repetition of our internships. So do you think it's really necessary, or what is your experience with that?
Well, honestly, I did a corporate internship myself when I came out of school. And at that time, it's a couple of years ago, at that time it was very much determined by the company what you did. In our company, we have a scheme that is called Vita Futura, and actually our logo is Design Your Own Destiny. So you decide what you want to do. Because I agree with you, there's not a lot of point in doing an exact repetition of what you did before, but this is the time where you can still learn in a corporate internship and not be held accountable in the end. So for you to cover those departments that you've never seen, I think is crucial. So if your background is F&B, then in an internship, in a corporate internship, it would be good if you look at rooms and if you look at the admin departments for you to get a total picture before you start your first position.
Okay. In our university, we often see at job fairs that also other industries get more and more interested in hospitality students and their competencies. So I was wondering if you really see this as a competition, and what do you do to compete with other industries such as retail, banking?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, of course it's competition, because these are also very interesting industries to work for. But what we do is we do the reverse. So we actually go to universities where people are not educated in hospitality industry. But we go to universities where they teach people how to do IT or how to do finance or how to do sales and marketing. So we also get people in our business from different businesses. At the end of the day, I think if you can't have the people at the beginning of the career, they may be stepping in at a later stage. And then it's actually a benefit. If you've seen different businesses, you have different experiences, and you then come into hospitality, I see that as a positive.
Okay, maybe one last question, if we still have time. Since we are bachelor students, do you prefer to have bachelor students or rather diploma students or people who did their apprenticeship, for example, in a hotel and worked their way up? What do you think, where's the benefit for you as an employer?
I'm maybe not a very, my opinion is maybe not a very generalistic opinion. For me, what is important is you. And honestly, I don't care that much what level you are educated at. It is your attitude that makes a difference. You know, when you come into the workplace, it is you who makes it work. It is you who determines how your career goes, how fast your career goes, how quickly you make those steps. And usually when we have the corporate trainees starting, I always tell them the story of the silver tray. And I tell them there is no silver tray. That when you enter the workplace and we come and say, here is your career in front of you. It doesn't work like that. The career gets there because you deliver, you show, you have a certain attitude, and with that attitude you grow quickly in the company. Now, of course you can go faster if you have a bit of a higher education, because you have learned certain things. But if you say, what do you prefer? I can't answer that question.
Okay, but you will still encourage us to do these studies.
Absolutely. No, of course. And studies are very good because you get a very good background. You learn how to work in teams. You get lots of exercises to do together. You learn a lot of theory as well. You learn how to find information. So, of course, it's beneficial. But the main thing at the end of the day is you and your attitude.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Thank you so much, Ingrid and Katharina. Second, and you're just in time. Fantastic. The second is between Adrian and Reto. And there the topic is career advancement. That means, what is in after my first job? You know, it's ringing. Good luck, Adrian.
Thank you. Now, Reto, Katharina and I, we're both passionate about hospitality, and if you look here around at the fair, you obviously see why. We're in an industry which is ever growing, which is ever changing, and obviously we would like to be able to be a part of this industry and to contribute to this growth. It is therefore, and to become maybe a little bit more concretely, my goal to, after graduation, become maybe part or a full member of a hotel development team, let's say in the 2 years after I graduate. Do you think this is a realistic goal?
Well, Adrian, I think obviously everything is possible in life, and I think it's always a little bit a question of ambitions and dreams, and there are a lot of people who have ambitions and therefore they also have dreams. But there are also a lot of dreamers who don't have any ambition, and that's a very important point, I think. There are a lot of people who are basically living their dreams, and there are others who are dreaming all their life. And obviously, if you have the ambition to get there and to do this job, there is basically, you know, if you do that with passion, as you said, there's probably nothing that can stop you in that sense.
That's reassuring to hear. Now, when I looked a little bit at your profile before coming here, I saw that you have a very extensive background in economics and finance. Now you work in the hospitality industry, however. Why this change?
Well, there are different reasons to it. I am today working in a family business, which has a history which lasts for more than 100 years. And I was always a big fan of hotel school, in particular the one the two of you are actually studying at. And as a child, I always wanted to join the school. On the other hand, my grandfather was already there, my father, my mother, even my sister were there. And I realized also when I worked on some summer jobs within our company that I don't want to be a son, basically have a son, being a son as a profession. And that's why I decided to go for a different path. And I studied economics and finance in St. Gallen. And I worked for over 10 years in the finance industry now. And rejoined only 2 years ago in the hospitality industry. And what it shows again, that obviously passion takes you where you want to be at the end. And I have no regrets about the way I took. And obviously there are a lot of elements that I can bring into the business, which I can take on board, which I couldn't have had if I would have chosen my classic way in that sense.
That actually leads very nicely to my next question. Do you think you could have gotten where you are now if you would have chosen an initial career path in hospitality or maybe even an education in hospitality?
Well, that's very difficult to say in that sense. I believe it was easier for me to join the management board of our company today as a crossover move from a management board in the finance industry. So basically, I could independently work on a career with no history or links to our family or my business. And that made the move probably for me easier. But I think it's, as I said at the beginning, nothing is impossible. It's just a question of the path you choose. And at the end, it doesn't matter. I think the important thing is that you look for experience, exposure, responsibility, and that you actually focus on the tasks people give you. And what I realized a lot looking around is people who don't plan their career from A to Z, they can be more successful than people who basically think of their career every day and think about if they are short or long on their path in that sense.
And Ruud, do you allow me a last question?
You have 7 seconds. So.
Okay, Daniel. Thank you very much in that case for your answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Adrian. The next topic. Oh.
It's very popular.
Yeah. Is about compensation. And to be honest with you, the topics we have taken came not from me, but came from the students. So the students want to discuss also the issue of compensation. Adrian to Ingrid.
Well, Ingrid said it rightly. Yes, we are to blame for the topics. However, it is a burning topic conversation. On many occasions already, being it on campus or in the industry, we have been told or we have heard that hospitality is low-paying comparatively with other industries. In your opinion, is this still the case? Is this perception the right perception?
Well, I'm not complaining right now. Yes and no. And I think it's we also keep this perception in place ourselves. Yes, the starting salaries in a hotel can be on the low side, I agree. But that is if you only look at salary. If you look at compensation, you need to look at salary plus benefits. And working in a 4- or 5-star hotel means you work in a very nice environment, You get uniforms, everything gets washed, you don't need to spend money on that, you get food. There is, like earlier on the gentleman was saying as well, there is staff rates, so you can get cheaper rooms. So there's a lot of benefits there that also account for money. Because if you work in a factory or in a bank, you don't have those benefits. Now, to me, and this is maybe a story maybe to share with you, what I did halfway in my career, I actually took a big drop in its salary. So I was earning quite nicely, working as an expatriate, and then went to work in Portugal and took a 2/3 drop in my salary. Now, all my friends said to me, "You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy." But I did that because, one, I wanted to learn something that I could learn then there. So I got an opportunity offer that I didn't have before. And two, I'm a great believer that when you go up the ranks, when you go up the ladder, the salaries are good in hospitality. They really are. The beginning, they may be a bit lower, but this is what you need to come through before you reach those positions where you do get the nice salaries. And then you have the stock and the options in certain companies. You get the company cars, you get the expatriate packages if you're willing to move. But you need to go through the first flow.
Well, but with your experience as a human resources professional, do you believe that compensation actually is such an important factor in attracting or retaining young people in the industry, or are other elements more important?
Well, to me, compensation and benefits, I call that a hygiene factor. It needs to be at the right level. And once it's at the right level, it no longer is something that keeps you with the company or not. So once the compensation is at the right level, then things like development opportunities, career planning, atmosphere, the culture in a company is very important. At least I believe it's very important. The possibility to grow globally, to travel internationally, those are important things. And this is the good thing about the hospitality industry. When we look around the world, we all see there's a little recession going on. It still is there. So many companies no longer are coping. Many companies are no longer employing people. And in hospitality, I mean, it started with Maria and Joseph. It's still there. It will always be there. And it will only grow. And you've heard it today. There is a huge market in hospitality. So that is how I see it.
Adrian, can you confirm that that is correct, what Ingrid is saying, or not?
Well, definitely, yes, I would say so. However, my last question, or what I would like to know from you is, when you hear that young people decide, or young hospitality students to decide to leave hospitality, given the maybe negative reputation of compensation, what would you tell them, or how do you try to convince them to stay? And or what goes through your mind when you hear that people leave because of this, because they perceive the hygiene factor is not there?
I think that's a pity. I think when they leave, I mean, to me, leaving just because of €100 more is a silly decision. You need to leave because somewhere else you can make a better career. Somewhere else you feel better because you like the atmosphere better. Or somewhere else you want to go to because you want to learn something you can't learn in the property that you're in. That to me is a reason to leave. Of course, I understand if there is, at the end of the day, there are loans to be paid back and there's money to be paid back. I understand salary is important. But I would encourage people to have a longer-term view rather than a shorter-term view. And you need to do what you like and what is important to you. For some people, that is because they need to have the higher salary, and then it's a shame they're leaving, and hopefully they'll come back. For others, that may make the decision to stay because they actually like what they're seeing and they see their growth, their future growth. Yeah?
Great, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Spot on. Thank you very much. The question number 4, the topic number 4 is about lifelong learning. So what can I do during my work? Can I study? Can I continue with my studies? And here, Katharina interviews Reto.
Yes, lifelong learning is a really idealistic term, but still graduate programs gain more and more importance. It's not so special anymore to have a master degree. So I wanted to ask you, as a representative of the hospitality industry, do you encourage your employees to pursue a master degree, for example? And do you also support them, maybe financially?
I think it's an extremely important question, and actually you mentioned the word lifelong learning. It's not only about like post degrees and master degrees in that sense. I think we always try to encourage people to make further education over time. Obviously, we want to have talents growing with us, staying with us. What they learn is to their benefit, but also to our benefit at the end of the day. At the same time, you have to be careful with not forcing people, but obviously if you provide it too loosely, a lot of people are just collecting labels or education in that sense, just for the heck of it to put in their CV or something similar. And the important point there is that education, yes, is very important, and yes, we support it, but at the same time, we want people to basically do whatever they feel is good for them and not what is good to have in their CV at the end of the day. So if doing further education, it should be well chosen, and it should be also well balanced between exposure, experience, and so on.
I definitely agree with that. However, you coming from the finance sector, do you see the difference in the support, mainly also financial and maybe also the kind of further education, so that it's maybe going back to a university and not just food and beverage training within the hotel? We all know that is quite common. I did during my internship once a week one of these trainings, and yeah, definitely it helps a lot, and I guess you benefit a bit more from that, if I can recommend different things to a guest. But especially the further education in universities. Do you see the difference in the finance sector, how they support these kind of programs and in the hospitality industry?
Well, there is a big difference how they supported it 5 to 10 years ago, and today, obviously, the budgets are very much lower. So, so there is less support in the financial industry there. I think in the finance sector, it's a lot about motivation. It's more about like also collecting a little bit kind of these brands of education. In the hospitality industry, where money is sometimes also shorter than in finance, depending on the economical cycle, obviously, I think money is spent when it's needed and shouldn't be spent just to have it spent in that sense. So there is some difference there, definitely, yes.
And in your establishment, for example, do you support your employees to pursue this kind of degree, or?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do a lot. We obviously select well the people who we support. As I mentioned before, we are a family business at the end of the day, and we have a very long-term view. Like we don't have a view on quarter to quarter or 3-year periods. We really think of one generation in that sense. And there we obviously also want to keep staff on board as long as possible. We want them to grow with us. And it's a challenge nowadays, obviously, to keep people on board for such a long time. I mean, we have staff which have been with us for more than 45 years in certain areas, and people who have been with us for more than 20 years, it's not an exception in that sense. So we obviously only hold them with you doesn't bring you further. Obviously, you have to grow, and they have to grow with you together, and education is a key element.
And talking about Generation Y again, do you think it is more difficult to retain young talents? And we often hear about the war of talents. And do you think this is an effective tool to retain young talents in your business?
I mean, I believe it's getting more and more difficult. And we also heard in the previous panel, I will just finish on that one. Dirk mentioned how things are changing very fast and moving very fast. And we have to adapt to these interests and needs. And obviously, nowadays, like in the last 10 years, the spectrum opened so widely. There's so many possibilities that obviously once you join the company at a young age, you want to see something else after a certain time. So our ambition is obviously to give these people, to show understanding, give them a good farewell, and mostly or very often we see them come back, and that's actually what is the perfect situation for us.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Well, maybe what we need to bear in mind, and that's what I learned when I talked to many, many young people, is that currently continuous education or continuous learning is a lifestyle. It's not just a necessity, it's just a lifestyle of young people. And I think the employer should understand that as well. That's Right, last topic, work-life balance. So now you stay there, and you question them. Good luck. Big barrier. Oh, you can come closer.
Now we come to the serious topics.
Well, the question goes to both of you, or whoever likes to answer first. Hospitality is known that once you join a hotel, maybe in a more traditional sense, your social life is immediately being disrupted. You have odd hours, you work long days, you work on odd days at times. And at the same time, in other sectors, work-life balance and such things are becoming more and more important. Do you think that such a trend is also going on in the hospitality industry?
Ladies first, thank you. Easy cop-out. Okay, I have a couple of thoughts about this. And I'll give you an example of where we're trying to work on work-life balance right now. Because obviously for us in our company, this is a big topic. We know that Generation Y think this is important, but to just tell you, for every generation, this is important. I think everybody would like to have a good work-life balance. When you talk about operational roles, I see that a little bit like some other professions. When you work for the police, when you work for hospitals, when you work for any of these public services, these are 24/7 businesses. So that automatically means that you have shifts and you have odd days. And the same in hospitality. And that is something you choose for that or you don't. Now, you're saying you work long days. I think that is where we're learning a little bit, that the hospitality is trying to be making sure that there's a little bit of a better balance there in the operational roles for sure. And what we're doing, for example, in Amsterdam, in one of our hotels, is we have a project running that's called Work 2.0. And what we've done there is, over a period of 2 years, we talked to all the associates in the hotel, to everybody. So general manager down to every single person who is working there. And then we looked at the roles and said, okay, which roles could we work on a flexible basis? Okay. And flexible being very wide. Flexible could mean you work from home, and that you can do in the admin roles. Flexible could be you decide when you're coming in. And flexible could mean we're looking at whether you can job share. So it goes a little bit further than just saying, you know, you have 8 hours and you just have to come in those days and now you can come on a different day. We went a lot further. In one of our hotels, we get the front office to make their own rotas. So we've told them we have so many check-ins, so many check-outs, and the team, and this is a pilot, the team makes their own rota. So on some days they work 12 hours, on other days they work 4 hours. But at the end of the day, they come to their average of 40 hours. So, you know, does it impact your social life? Of course it does. That's the industry you chose. But is it beneficial? Also, yes. I mean, I used to love working on the weekend because that meant I could go shopping on the Monday and a Tuesday, or on the Tuesday and a Wednesday, and, you know, nobody was there. So, you know, you need to make things work, and you need to see the positive out of it. So that's my short response.
Thank you. For you, one more question to panel, maybe to Reto.
Yeah. For me, not only because I'm a woman, but concerning families. We all know hospitality industry is not easy to handle when you have also responsibilities in a family. And yeah, we all know holidays, weekends technically don't exist. So what do you do to improve the situation, to maybe also retain women in their job, and but also men? I mean, there are also men who care about their children, right?
Obviously important question, and it also links to, you know, what I said before: retain good people and keep talents on board. And you know, what Ingrid said before is true. I mean, work-life balance in that sense is not what people think that getting more time off in that sense, but it's more about investing time when your time is needed at work. And that's what you mentioned exactly, you know, like you will have long hours and then you will have short hours when there's less work. And efficiency is more about efficiency at work. And obviously, coming to family planning and so on and so forth, I think, back to the first point, if you are in this industry, obviously you're passionate about it, and you also know that there are certain things that you pay for in a certain way. And your family and also your partner and kids and so on and so forth also have to accept this lifestyle in a certain way. Obviously, you know, if you want 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, you probably would have to work for the government. And if you want to work in the hotel industry, I think it is possible. I mean, I know so many examples also within our company, in other companies, and it's also supported by us because we want to have good people on board. We want to have the family spirit on board. And, but there is flexibility needed on both sides.
Last remark from your side. Yes, you get it. You're both Dutch, so we share.
Yeah, well, there we go, you know. And a very good hotel school in the Netherlands too, not only that one. So what I want to say, I don't like talking about it as work-life balance. I talk about it of work-life integration. Because I think it's about integrating the two things into each other. And, you know, for people, I travel a lot. You know, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be in 6 countries. So you would say, well, how do you integrate your work life? Simply because sometimes my husband comes with me. Because I take my sport gear with me and I can go and play sports in all the hotels I am. Because there's Skype and you can still stay in contact with people. So it is, it's an attitude. It's an attitude about how you approach it, and I think you can make it work. I really do.
Satisfied? Yes? Yes? You want to stay in the hospitality industry?
With pleasure, yes.
With pleasure? With you?
It's worth a try.
It's worth a try. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you for your honest questions and your honest answers. This is a great, fascinating industry to work for, I think. So if you have the talent, if you have the motivation, just join this industry. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.